Speaker, and today I want to speak about the senseless killing of a good man as he was volunteering as an usher among family and friends in his place of worship. Dr. George Tiller was shot to death, as all most of us know, at his church in Wichita, Kansas on the 31st of May. A single gunshot fired by a man who apparently has a long history of animosity to the women's right to choose ended the life of a man who's dedicated his life to helping others and was a stark reminder to all of us of the raw emotion surrounding this issue. In the days since the arrest of the shooter, we have now heard reports that even more violence may be planned against doctors who believe in choice. And while this kind of violence is deplorable, it seems to me that this act is particularly villainous because it took place in a house of worship. This church, a place where people come together to seek peace, safety, and protection, was in an instant transformed into a place of shocking, senseless violence. Our places of worship are meant to be peaceful refuges for those who seek serenity in times of turmoil and safety in times of hostility. The sanctity of these places is honored at all times and without regard to denomination. There should be no exceptions to this rule that we are taught early and provides us with a structure for our interaction with other faiths and beliefs. Only the most evil can bring violence into these sacred buildings. To defile houses of worship with bloodshed is nothing less than villainous, and we should not tolerate such actions in a civilized society. For millennia into the Middle Ages, our churches, synagogues, mosques, and others have been the center of communities, places of scholarship, proponents of peace and love among humankind. There is more to a place of worship than its physical presence. There's a sense of community and accord and safety where worshipers can share their faith. But when we look at our recent history, we have seen a disturbing rise in violence at churches that we have taken no note of in the House of Representatives. As mentioned, 68 persons have been shot, dead, or wounded, or assaulted in violence in religious institutions here in the United States. This is more than deplorable. Deepening the tragedy is the fact until now there has been no expression of outrage requiring violence in a place of worship. It shakes the foundations of our communities, our principles, and our nation. It is not a Christian issue or a Jewish issue or Islamic issue or any one faith. It's a test of what we, as a society, are willing to tolerate, and a reminder that some people in this nation do not respect the sanctity of a house of worship. The brutal killing of Dr. Tiller was the latest church killing. In March of 2009, Reverend Fred Winters was killed while at the pulpit by gunfire at the First Baptist Church in Illinois. Only after the gun malfunctioned, members of the congregation subdued the shooter to prevent further fatalities. Reverend Donald Fairbanks Jr. was fatally shot at the 9th Street Baptist Church of Covington, Kentucky in November 2008. Visiting from his Cincinnati, Ohio church to attend a funeral for a woman with relatives in his congregation. And grief turned to fear as the gunman opened fire in the church. July 2008, an usher and a guest were shot and killed during the opening act of a children's play in Knoxville, Tennessee. The gunman walked into the sanctuary carrying a guitar case with a 12-gauge shotgun. He is said to have fired over 40 shots, killing 2 and injuring 7. In May 2006, 5 family members killed by a gunman who opened fire during a church service at the Ministry of Jesus Christ Church in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. The whole family was wiped out, and the shooter's wife was abducted from the church and killed nearby. One of the most upsetting in recent memory started in 1999 when a lone gunman massacred 7 worshipers and wounded 7 others at a youth celebration. 150 teenagers that were all taking place in the sanctuary of the Wedgwood Baptist Church at Fort Worth, Texas. 150 teenagers. The assault was one of the worst ever, and I know there was a tremendous sense of loss after that awful act. Why doesn't America care about this? Why have we said absolutely nothing about it? Why are we now allowing concealed weapons to be carried in federal parks where, frankly, I hope most people will not be able to go in any notion that they might come out of there alive? Dr. Tiller's family held a memorial service for him over the weekend after his burial on Friday, and he was remembered by all 4 of his children for his care and devotion as both physician and father. It's a senseless tragedy, and so I offer this resolution and hope that all members of this House will say no more. I yield back the
And
balance.
lady's time has expired. Gentleman from North Carolina.
Mr. Speaker, I